The minute you address an audience, they become deeply involved with who's the real guy up there? Is this the real guy? Am I looking at the real guy? And the more you can convince them that you really are this extreme individual, then you've got something very interesting going on with the audience. As far as I knew, that had not happened before Theodore. And that was what I was picking up on. I mean, there are people who walk through this world who, cut a unique path. And the guy did it. You have to know enough about yourself to know that you're going to walk into a Theodore performance and you're not going to be genuinely frightened, but you're going to be amazed by the fact that he can so dedicate himself to this character. The power of Theodore was that it continued to have that effect and would have that effect today. If you put him on stage, the kind of routines he did, and really let that venom go, not fake venom, not ha-ha. I mean, Don Rickles is a guy who went from the real venom to the fake venom in the course of his career. Now, perhaps if you go to see him in Vegas today, he may still be doing the real venom, but he makes sure when he's in the mass media to let you know that he's just joking or whatever. In fact, he used to do that. Whenever he would come on one of these shows, Rickles would always ease off at some point, just joking or whatever. But this true venom scares people, and that was and that's a hipster thing. That's a beat thing. That's about true counterculture. Well, Theodore was genuinely a different person than all of us, middle class, college educated Americans. He wasn't American, and he wasn't from our era. I mean, he was definitely from another time, and I think that makes him already, all he has to do is just be himself, and he was very intriguing to everybody around him, and people would treat, I mean, whether or not he had ever walked on stage, he was of interest to people because he was an interesting character. He was perfectly willing to admit that he was really, wasn't good at anything. He didn't have any skill. He was telling me he was a spoiled playboy as he was brought up. He was not brought up to be able to do anything. He was a guy who was brought up to be rich, and then he wasn't. And so I think this was an opportunity for him to make some money, and he did it, and get girls. And so he made money and got girls. He shows up one night at a show of mine in '86.
Whoa, that's rare.
Yeah.
From what I hear.
Yeah.
Go to anything.
Shows up backstage at Drinking in America at the American Place Theater with two girls on each arm, two beautiful young women. And now another piece of information comes into me about Theodore, which is somehow this guy who looks like a troll has got beautiful women who follow him around, and I was to find out much later that he dated these women, that he had girlfriends, and it wasn't just like some kind of act or something. So now we go, and I was just blown away that he came. I mean, this was a very big deal to me. It was a big turning point for me in my career that anybody that I admired was showing up. And, it was kind of like that over the next couple of years for me. I mean, for me, Theodore was like, Lou Reed would show up. For me, that was the equivalent to have this guy, in fact, more, to have Theodore come. Well, it was an emotionally strange thing, because first of all, he reminded me of my grandmother. I mean, basically contemporary with my grandmother, who was about that age at that time. Also, to be around a guy who is very old and somewhat infirm, but in his mind is, as far as he's concerned, he's still the Theodore that performs, and that's what he's about. And he's basically thinking about, where's my next gig? And he's thinking that at 90. He also told me around that time that his girlfriend had just broken up with him, who was like in her 40s, which I thought was good stuff. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, I'd give anything to have the sex drive I had when I was 85.